The galaxy seemed quieter now, but Serenia knew it was only the calm before the storm. The enemy behind the attacks had not disappeared. They had retreated to regroup, but they would not stop. They had underestimated one thing: humanity. Captain Elias Kane stood at the command console scanning the star systems. His face was steady, calm, and full of purpose. Beside him, Serenia watched, her mind alive with plans, strategies, and newfound admiration for the human who had already risked everything to save her. "This ends now," Elias said quietly, though there was a steel in his voice that demanded attention. "They thought they could strike from the shadows. They thought we would run. They were wrong." Serenia nodded, feeling a strange excitement. She had once thought humans weak, but she had witnessed courage, determination, and intelligence in ways that her people would never forget. She knew the coming battle would prove that to the galaxy, and that Elias was at the center of it. Their plan was bold. Instead of waiting for the enemy to strike again, they would take the fight to them. Using intelligence gathered from intercepted communications, Elias identified the enemy's main base. It was a fortified station, hidden within an asteroid cluster, shielded and heavily armed. "Impossible," a crew member said nervously. "They have defenses no ship can penetrate." Elias shook his head. "Nothing is impossible if we fight smart. We'll use what we have. We'll be fast, unpredictable, and precise. Trust me." Serenia studied him. She had already learned that Elias's confidence was not arrogance. It was certainty, born from experience, skill, and the human refusal to accept defeat. "Then let us go," she said, standing beside him. "I will not hide while others fight." Elias glanced at her, and for the first time he allowed a hint of a smile. "Good. You'll see why legends exist." They approached the enemy base carefully. Asteroids spun around them, and the station's shields glowed faintly against the void. The enemy believed themselves safe, confident that their traps would destroy any approaching force. Elias did not waste time. Using the asteroid belt, he maneuvered the ship through narrow gaps that no one had thought navigable. He turned debris into cover, using the natural chaos of space as a weapon. The enemy's sensors were confused, unable to track the ship properly, giving them the perfect opening. When the station's alarms finally blared, Elias was already inside. He led a boarding team, moving with swift precision. Serenia followed, her own weapons ready, but it was clear that Elias was the key. Inside the station, chaos erupted. Guards rushed in, but Elias anticipated every move. He disarmed, dodged, and neutralized enemies with speed and intelligence that seemed almost supernatural. Every action was purposeful, every decision calculated. He created diversions, trapped enemies in corridors, and guided the crew through safe paths. Serenia moved beside him, awed by his abilities. She had studied strategy her whole life, yet she could not follow his improvisation in every detail. It was instinct, skill, and courage combined. One alien commander charged at Elias, confident in superior strength. Elias sidestepped, grabbed a metal panel, and used it to block the attack. Then, with a precise strike, he sent the enemy sprawling. Other guards hesitated, realizing that this human was unlike anyone they had ever faced. The battle raged through the station. Explosions shook walls, alarms blared, and the crew worked alongside Elias with newfound courage. Every time a human, an alien ally faced danger together, Elias was there to protect, guide, and inspire. Serenia found herself thinking constantly, this was the human warrior the legends spoke of. The stories were not exaggeration, they were understatement. Finally, they reached the central control room where the enemy leader waited. A tall alien with dark, gleaming armor raised a hand and sneered. "You dare to enter my domain?" he demanded. "You will be destroyed." Elias stepped forward, calm, steady, and fearless. "You already failed," he said, "because you underestimated us." With that, the final fight began. The enemy. Leader was strong, fast, and skilled, but Elias had something they lacked: adaptability. He moved with speed, using his surroundings, improvising, exploiting every flaw. He fought not for pride, not for revenge, but for survival and justice. Serenia watched, breathless. This battle was more than strength. It was mind, courage, and heart. Elias was every bit the warrior the legends had promised. Minutes felt like hours. Slowly, the enemy leader faltered. Elias used a clever trick, turning the room's environment to his advantage. A panel fell, blocking an escape route. A control lever disabled security systems, turning the leader's own defenses against him. Finally, with a decisive strike, Elias disarmed and captured him. The remaining enemies surrendered, knowing the tide had turned. They had underestimated the human. They had believed the myths were only stories. Now they faced the truth. The station secured, Serenia stepped forward, her eyes shining. She looked at Elias, her heart full of admiration and respect. You have done what no one thought possible. You are more than legend. Elias shook his head. Legends are nothing if no one remembers them. We act, we survive, and then we continue. She smiled, understanding. Humans were not just warriors. They were proof that courage, creativity, and persistence could overcome impossible odds. She had seen it herself, and the galaxy would not forget it. When they returned to the Galactic Council, the story of their mission spread quickly. Leaders and citizens alike were stunned by the news. A single human had led a team to victory against a powerful enemy, saving countless lives and exposing a conspiracy that threatened peace. Serenia spoke before the council, her voice strong and clear. The human warrior is not a myth. He is real. Captain Elias Kane has shown courage, intelligence, and loyalty that surpasses anything we have imagined. Humanity is not to be underestimated. Remember this day. The council was silent for a moment, then erupted in applause. Many who had doubted humanity now looked at them with newfound respect. Elias, standing beside Serenia, allowed himself a small smile. He did not seek glory, did not demand praise. He had acted because it was right. And yet, seeing the reaction of the galaxy, he understood that his actions had changed more than just one battle. Humans would no longer be seen as fragile newcomers. They were survivors, warriors, and innovators. They were a force the galaxy could not ignore. Serenia, looking at him, felt a deep gratitude. She had once dismissed humans as weak. Now she realized they were exceptional, and she had seen the proof firsthand. You have changed the way I see the galaxy, she said softly. Elias nodded. We all have the chance to do that if we are willing to act. In the days that followed, humanity's reputation spread. Stories of the human warrior inspired other races to rethink their assumptions. Humans were invited into alliances, asked to share strategies, and recognized for their resilience. And everywhere, the name Elias Kane became synonymous with courage, intelligence, and honor. Serenia stood beside him, her eyes reflecting the stars. She knew that this was only the beginning. Humans would continue to shape the galaxy in ways no one had imagined, and she was proud to have witnessed the start of it. As the stars glimmered outside their ship, she whispered quietly, more to herself than to anyone else. I once thought human warriors were a myth, but now I know the truth. They are real and they will never be forgotten. Elias looked at her calm and steady as ever, his gaze holding quiet determination. We survive, we act, and we continue. Serenia smiled, knowing that the galaxy had changed forever. For the first time in her life, she felt true hope born of courage, unity, and the undeniable strength of humanity. And so the legend of the human warrior was no longer a myth. It was reality, and humanity, led by the courage of one extraordinary man, had earned its place among the stars. The night sky over Earth had always been a place of wonder. Children would point at the stars, wondering if someone else might be looking back. For centuries, poets and scientists spoke about life beyond the blue sky. Yet when the first signals came, they were not gentle greetings. They were not peaceful songs from another world. They were orders. The message was clear and cold. This planet is now under our claim. You will surrender your resources and obey. Resistance is unwise. The words appeared on every satellite transmission, every television, every radio, every phone. No corner of Earth was untouched. Humanity froze as one, staring at the sudden, undeniable truth. Aliens had arrived, and they were not friendly. The first glimpse astronomers had noticed strange readings near Jupiter just weeks earlier. Some thought it was just a comet. Others argued it was a new asteroid field. But then, through the deep space telescopes, the truth became impossible to hide. Shapes emerged. Not rocks, not natural bodies, but machines. Giant ships larger than any human city. They glowed with strange lights, their hulls made of a dark metal that seemed to swallow starlight. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, moving in perfect formation. The world watched the live feeds from observatories as fear spread like fire. Are they explorers? People asked. Or conquerors? The answer came soon enough. Humanity's first response in the United Nations building, leaders gathered in emergency meetings. For the first time, every nation was present with no hesitation. Arguments rose, but they quickly fell. Every representative knew the truth. Earth was facing something beyond imagination. Some leaders argued for peace. We must show them our goodwill, they said. We must prove we are a civilized race. Others warned. We do not know their intentions. We must prepare to defend ourselves. After long hours, Earth agreed to try diplomacy first. A single message was sent, crafted in every major language and then translated into a universal code. We are the people of Earth. We welcome you. We offer peace and cooperation. The message was broadcast into the void. Humanity waited. The answer came within a day. The cold reply from the alien flagship, their voice was transmitted across Earth's skies. The voice was deep, metallic, and filled with disdain. Peace? You have nothing we desire except what we will take. You are a young, weak race, still bound to a single planet. You will obey. You will serve. Your refusal only delays the inevitable. The words struck like thunder. Humanity felt small, fragile, and powerless. On the streets of cities, crowds stood around public screens listening in silence. Children clung to their parents. Soldiers gripped their rifles, knowing such weapons were useless against ships the size of mountains. And then came the final sentence. We chose war. The transmission ended. The sky was silent once more. Fear and unity. In the days that followed, panic spread. Markets collapsed. Riots broke out in some cities, and many whispered that Earth had no chance. Against such advanced beings, what could humanity do? Yet something else stirred as well. For the first time in history, borders began to matter less. Nations that once distrusted one another now found themselves sitting at the same tables, facing the same threat. Scientists exchanged information without secrecy. Generals shared defense plans. Engineers worked day and night. In underground bunkers, in orbiting stations, in secret laboratories, humanity prepared, not just for survival, but for resistance. Ordinary people, too, found new strength. Workers volunteered in factories to build machines. Farmers shared food freely. Teachers reminded children of human history, of every time Earth had faced impossible odds and survived. Humans had always been underestimated. This would not be the first time. Watching the sky, the alien fleet did not rush. Instead, they slowly moved closer, establishing their presence around the edges of the solar system. Some ships hovered near Jupiter, some near Saturn. Their movements were deliberate, almost arrogant, as if showing that humans could do nothing to stop them. Astronomers tracked every movement, reporting updates by the hour. When the first alien craft crossed Mars's orbit, humanity held its breath. Military satellites captured images, sleek, triangular ships with glowing engines, armed with weapons no one could recognize. A single blast from such a ship could likely destroy a whole city. And yet the aliens did not strike immediately. They watched. They scanned. Perhaps they wanted humanity to feel fear before the final blow. The debate of Earth inside Earth's command centers, arguments flared. Some leaders begged for surrender. We must protect our people, they said. If we kneel, maybe they will spare us, but others stood firm. If we surrender now, we give away our future. If we fight, at least we choose our own fate. In one heated session, a general from a small nation rose and said firmly, "History remembers those who stand, not those who kneel." The words spread across Earth like fire. People repeated them in the streets, painted them on walls, whispered them as prayers. Humanity's fear began to turn into defiance. A message to the stars as the alien fleet neared, Earth decided to send one final attempt, not of surrender, but of warning. A message was prepared, simple and direct. We do not seek war, but we will not kneel. If you strike us, we will resist with everything we have. The message was broadcast from satellites, space stations, and ground stations. Every corner of Earth sent the same signal, together, united. The aliens received it. For hours there was no reply. Humanity waited in silence, knowing that the next words could decide their fate. Finally, the alien voice returned. You misunderstand. This is not your choice. We chose war. You will soon understand what power truly means. And then the signal ended. The calm. Before the storm that night across Earth, the skies seemed darker. Children looked up at the stars and asked questions their parents could not answer. Soldiers polished their weapons, knowing they might never be enough. Scientists worked without sleep, their eyes red but their determination stronger than ever. The alien fleet was moving closer, their shadows stretching across the solar system. Humanity stood on the edge of its greatest trial, but deep in the hearts of billions, something stirred. Fear, yes, but also a spark, a fire, a unity that had never been seen before. For centuries, humans had fought each other. Now, for the first time, they were one. The invaders thought they had chosen war, but soon they would learn what humanity was truly capable of. The first chapter of the greatest struggle in Earth's history had begun. Humanity's hidden strength. The alien fleet continued to crawl closer. To them, Earth was just another weak world to conquer, one of many they had already taken. Their commanders did not see humanity as anything more than a primitive race. To the aliens, the people of Earth were children playing with fire, still chained to one planet, still divided into nations, still learning how to reach the stars, but beneath the surface of Earth something unexpected was growing. The invaders had chosen war, but they had not yet seen what humanity could truly do when pushed to the edge. The secret projects for years, even before the aliens appeared, humanity had been preparing. Not for war with another species, but for survival in space itself. Quietly, governments and scientists had been experimenting with advanced technologies. Railguns powered by magnetic fields, drones controlled by artificial intelligence, and hidden defense platforms in orbit. Most of these projects had been small, kept in secrecy because of politics and mistrust. Nations feared one another more than they feared the unknown stars. But now, faced with a single enemy that threatened all of humanity, those projects came to light. Underground bunkers opened their doors. Laboratories shared their codes and blueprints. Ideas that had been hidden for decades were suddenly brought into the open. What had once been scattered sparks of progress now became a fire. Humanity was building something greater than it had ever imagined. The call for unity, all across the world. Leaders spoke not only to their people but to one another. The message was simple: we must stand as one. Factories in Asia built parts for space weapons. Engineers in Europe developed new defense shields. Scientists in America shared their research on artificial intelligence. Africa offered rare minerals that were needed for engines and reactors. South America trained pilots for experimental ships. Australia opened its deep deserts for testing. Borders still existed on maps, but they no longer mattered in action. Humanity had become one giant workshop, one giant army, one giant heart beating together. Ordinary people felt the weight of history pressing upon them. They no longer thought about just their own survival. They thought about their children, about the future of humankind itself. Everyone had a role. Farmers grew extra crops to feed the workers. Coders wrote programs for new drones. Teachers taught children not with fear, but with pride, that they were living in the time when humanity would prove itself. Preparing the defenses. The first step was to protect Earth itself. Dozens of satellites were converted into weapons equipped with lasers and missiles. Old rockets were redesigned to carry warheads that could pierce even the hardest alien hulls. Then came the railguns, giant cannons that used Earth's magnetic field to fire projectiles at unimaginable speed. Built into mountains and hidden under the oceans, they could strike targets in orbit with deadly accuracy. But perhaps the most secret weapon of all was the stealth fleet. In hidden shipyards, small but powerful spacecraft were being constructed, coated with special materials that made them almost invisible to alien sensors. They were fast, armed with both missiles and hacking devices, designed not to fight directly but to disrupt and surprise. Earth was no longer just a planet waiting to be conquered. It was becoming a fortress. The first test. The aliens, confident in their power, sent a group of scout ships past Mars. They did not expect resistance. They thought humans would either surrender or panic. But as the alien scouts passed the asteroid belt, they were met with silence and then sudden fire. From hidden bases on nearby asteroids, railguns launched massive projectiles. The shots ripped through the darkness, striking one of the alien scouts and tearing it apart. The explosion lit up the void, shocking both the aliens and the humans who watched from command centers. For the first time, humanity had struck the invaders. The remaining alien scouts quickly returned fire, destroying some of the asteroid bases. Yet even as they retaliated, more human surprises awaited them. Stealth ships, small and fast, darted from the shadows. They hacked into the aliens' communication signals, creating confusion. Some alien ships fired on each other, tricked by false data. Others found themselves unable to move as human drones swarmed their engines. By the time the battle ended, 3 alien scouts were destroyed, and 2 more heavily damaged. Humanity had paid a price, losing several bases and many brave lives. But the message was clear. Earth was not as weak as the invaders believed. The message of defiance news of the victory spread quickly across Earth. For the first time, people cheered instead of trembled. Cities erupted in celebration, not because the war was won, but because hope had been born. On giant screens in public squares, images of the destroyed alien scouts were shown. Children laughed, pointing at the wreckage. Old men and women wept with relief. Soldiers saluted. Workers hammered faster, inspired by the thought that their labor could make a difference. Earth's leaders decided it was time to speak again. A broadcast was sent out, not only to the aliens but to the entire galaxy in every frequency humans could imagine. The message was short and clear. You chose war. Now we show you power. The words echoed across the stars. The aliens heard them, and so did anyone else who might be listening. Humanity was no longer silent. The reaction of the invaders on their massive flagship, the alien commanders were silent at first. They had expected the humans to beg for mercy. They had expected a simple conquest, another mark on their endless campaign across the galaxy. Instead, they had been bloodied by a race they considered primitive. Some alien officers warned, "These humans are dangerous. They are unpredictable," but others laughed. "They cannot win. They are still children. They delay what cannot be avoided." Still, deep inside, unease began to grow among the invaders. For the first time in centuries, they had underestimated an enemy. And for the first time, they had felt fear. The people's war back on Earth, the war was no longer just the work of soldiers. It belonged to everyone. Entire cities organized themselves to support the effort. Mothers and fathers built drones in their homes. Students wrote software for targeting systems. Retired engineers returned to work, offering wisdom from old wars. Artists painted posters reminding people of unity and courage. Musicians wrote songs that filled the air with strength instead of despair. Even the smallest act mattered. A farmer delivering food, a mechanic fixing a truck, a child sending a letter of encouragement. Every act became part of the larger fight. Humanity was showing the aliens something they had never faced before. The power of a species that fought together not out of obedience, but out of choice. The battle at Mars, the aliens, angered by their losses, sent a larger force toward Mars. They intended to crush the human resistance quickly, to prove once and for all that Earth could not stand against them. But humanity was ready. Defense stations hidden around Mars activated. Swarms of drones rose from underground hangars. Stealth ships circled, waiting for the right moment. Railguns hidden in Martian caves opened fire. The battle that followed was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Explosions lit the skies above Mars. Alien beams sliced through human ships, but humans responded with cunning traps. Asteroids pushed into the path of enemy cruisers, decoys leading alien weapons astray. The cost was high. Many human ships were lost. But when the dust cleared, the aliens had lost even more. For every human vessel destroyed, 2 alien ships burned. The world watched the live feeds in awe. Humanity, the so-called primitive race, had held its ground against a galactic empire. The turning point. When the battle ended, Earth's leaders knew the truth. The war was far from over. The aliens were still strong, still overwhelming in numbers and technology. But humanity had proven it could resist. And more than that, humanity had sent a message not just of words but of action. They were no longer prey. They were no longer victims. The aliens had chosen war. Now, humanity would show them what true power meant. Not just the power of weapons, but the power of unity, of spirit, of a people who refused to kneel. The next stage of the war had begun. The battle at Mars had ended, but its echoes shook both Earth and the alien fleet. For the first time, the invaders had been forced to retreat with heavy losses. For the first time, humanity realized that it could fight, but no one believed the war was over. Everyone knew the aliens would return, and next time, they would come with greater force. The question was no longer if humanity could resist. It was how long humanity could hold before the storm broke. The world after Mars on Earth, the victory at Mars spread like lightning. News channels showed images of alien wreckage floating in the void. Children in classrooms stood proudly when teachers spoke of the battle. Families cheered as pilots and engineers were interviewed, their faces tired but determined. It was not just about ships or weapons. It was about spirit. Humanity had seen the enemy bleed, and that single truth gave hope where there had once been only despair. But alongside hope came urgency. Everyone knew the aliens would not forgive such defiance. They would return with fury. So Earth became a world without rest. Factories never closed. Machines roared day and night. New weapons rolled out each week. Orbital shipyards filled the sky with fresh vessels, some small and fast, others heavy and armed to the teeth. Farmers grew food at record pace, sending supplies to space colonies and underground bunkers. Schools taught children not only math and history but also how to code, how to repair drones, how to think like defenders of their planet. It was no longer a war of governments. It was a war of humanity. The alien council far across the solar system, in the heart of their fleet, the alien commanders met. Their council chamber glowed with strange lights, their armor reflecting the cold fire of their anger. They were not used to resistance. For centuries, their empire had crushed world after world. Civilizations had surrendered at the first sight of their ships. Others had been destroyed without effort. But Earth was different. This small blue planet had dared to fight. Worse, it had won battles. Primitive, one commander hissed. "They are nothing but children with stones." "Stones that destroyed our scouts," another replied darkly. Silence followed. They knew the truth. The humans were not as weak as they appeared, yet pride blinded many of them. "It matters not. We will send the full fleet. We will burn their defenses. Their courage will die with their planet." Still, one voice among them whispered with caution, "Or it will awaken something greater than we expect." The council ignored the warning. Plans were made. The next strike would not be a test. It would be a full invasion. Earth's hidden weapon. While the aliens prepared, humanity was not idle. Beneath the ice of Antarctica, a secret project was nearing completion. For decades, scientists had dreamed of harnessing Earth's magnetic field as a weapon. Alone, no nation could afford it. But now, with the entire world united, the dream became reality. It was called Project Aurora. Hidden deep underground, stretching across frozen tunnels, was the largest energy cannon ever built. Powered by reactors, controlled by advanced AI, and connected directly to Earth's magnetic lines, it was a weapon that could unleash destruction on a scale never seen before. Few knew of its existence. Only the highest leaders and scientists were aware. It was humanity's ultimate card, to be played only when all else failed. For now, the weapon remained silent. Humanity did not want to destroy, it wanted to survive. But the day might come when silence was no longer enough. The rising storm weeks passed and tension grew. Telescopes spotted massive alien movements beyond Saturn. Their fleet was gathering, larger than before. Warships, carriers, and strange vessels whose purpose was unknown. The numbers were staggering, 10 times the size of the force that had fought at Mars. On Earth, people felt the weight of dread again. Yet fear no longer ruled. They had prepared. They had tasted victory. Now they sharpened their blades. Military commanders met daily, studying every possible strategy. Satellites mapped asteroid fields. Stealth ships hid in ambush positions. Drones were mass-produced like never before. The aliens thought they had chosen war. But humans had chosen something stronger. Unity. The battle for Earth's orbit at last, the alien fleet arrived. Their ships darkened the skies as they neared Earth's orbit. People could see them with the naked eye glowing like sinister stars. The invasion began with brutal force. Alien beams tore through the upper atmosphere, striking satellites and defense stations. Explosions painted the night sky, but humanity was ready. Orbital platforms fired back with railguns and missiles. Swarms of drones rose like flocks of metallic birds, darting between the massive alien ships. Stealth vessels launched surprise attacks, appearing from nowhere and vanishing before the enemy could react. From the ground, railguns hidden in mountains fired upward, streaks of light cutting through the darkness. One by one, alien ships fell, burning as they crashed into the oceans. But the battle was not one-sided. Alien beams incinerated entire defense stations. Drones were destroyed by the thousands. Human ships exploded in flashes of fire, their crews giving their lives without hesitation. For hours, the war raged above Earth. Billions watched from below, their hearts pounding with every explosion in the sky. The turning point, despite their courage, humanity began to falter. The aliens' numbers were overwhelming. For every alien ship destroyed, more pushed forward. Earth's defenses strained, its weapons running hot, its crews exhausted. Then the moment came. A massive alien flagship, larger than any mountain, broke through the defenses and positioned itself above Earth. Its weapons began to charge, ready to deliver a blow that would end the war in a single strike. In command centers across the world, silence fell. Leaders looked at one another. The time had come to use their hidden weapon. Project Aurora was activated. The light of Earth deep beneath Antarctica, the great cannon roared to life. Energy surged through its colossal systems, glowing veins of power stretching across frozen tunnels. The weapon locked onto the alien flagship. From the ground, a beam of pure light erupted, brighter than the sun itself. It shot upward through the sky, piercing the void, unstoppable. The beam struck the alien flagship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship cracked apart, its metal tearing like paper. Explosions rippled across its surface until the entire vessel shattered into fragments. The blast was seen from every corner of Earth. People looked up and gasped. Children cheered. Soldiers cried out in triumph. The sky lit with fire, but this time it was the fire of victory. The message was clear. Earth was not powerless. Earth could strike back. The words that echoed immediately after the strike, Earth's leaders sent a broadcast. It was not long. It was not complicated. It was the message humanity had prepared since the beginning. You brought war to our world. We will never kneel. Now you will see the strength of humankind. The words were carried on every frequency, every channel, every pulse of energy across the solar system. The aliens heard them, and they trembled. The retreat, the destruction of the flagship shook the alien fleet. Their commanders, once arrogant, now hesitated. Fear spread among them. If humans could destroy a vessel of such size, what else were they hiding? The alien fleet began to pull back. Not in full retreat, but no longer advancing. Their confidence was broken. For the first time, the war was uncertain. The humans had forced a stalemate. The invaders could no longer treat them as prey. The dawn of resolve on Earth. The victory was celebrated, but not with arrogance. People knew the war was far from over. The aliens still had countless ships. Humanity had lost many brave souls. The sky was still filled with danger. Yet something had changed forever. Humanity no longer doubted itself. The turning point had come. They had faced the storm. They had stood as one, and they had delivered a message that would echo across the stars. The invaders had chosen war. Humanity had chosen to endure. And now the galaxy would never see Earth the same way again. The alien fleet had pulled back, but only slightly. They hovered at the edge of the solar system, their enormous ships casting shadows that stretched across planets. Every commander, every pilot, every soldier of Earth knew this pause was not mercy. It was a prelude to a greater assault. Humanity had won a crucial battle, yes, but the war was far from over. The losses had been heavy. Satellites lay in ruins, ships had been destroyed, and brave men and women were gone. Yet something deeper had emerged, a burning, unbreakable determination. The people of Earth understood something the aliens did not. Power was not measured only in ships or weapons. It was measured in unity and courage and the ability to act together as one, and Earth had prepared its ultimate message. Project Aurora awakens beneath Antarctica. In a labyrinth of tunnels and frozen chambers, the massive energy cannon of Project Aurora waited. For decades, it had been humanity's secret, a weapon so vast and powerful that no alien could imagine it. Powered by the planet's magnetic field and controlled by artificial intelligence, it could deliver a strike strong enough to alter the course of the war. The decision to use it had not been taken lightly. Across the globe, leaders debated, scientists calculated, and military commanders planned. They knew the aliens were already nervous after losing their flagship. A single strike, precise and overwhelming, could shatter the remaining invaders' morale. But it had to be perfect. The cannon's massive energy reactors hummed to life. Lights glowed along tunnels carved deep into the ice. Humans, from soldiers to engineers, worked tirelessly to align the system, to ensure accuracy, to calibrate the immense power that could change the war forever. Preparing the strike meanwhile, in orbit, Earth's stealth fleet moved into position. Hidden behind asteroids, behind magnetic distortions, and inside the shadows of gas giants, small ships awaited the signal. Their mission was not to fight directly but to guide the strike, distract the aliens, and create openings for Project Aurora's beam. On Earth, orbital defense platforms synchronized their targeting systems. Every satellite capable of scanning, every sensor able to detect alien movement was linked into a single network. The coordination was unmatched, a combination of human ingenuity and advanced AI that made even the most complex battle manageable. Every move, every calculation, every preparation aimed at one goal, sending a message to the aliens that humanity would never be subdued. The fleet responds. The alien commanders were unaware of Project Aurora's full power. They assumed Earth's defenses had limits, that humans could only fight with the small ships they had seen at Mars. Their arrogance made them blind. A portion of the fleet moved closer, scanning the planet for weaknesses. Others remained behind, waiting for the humans to make a mistake. Their communication channels buzzed with tension. Even they felt a strange uncertainty. Something in humanity's recent victories disturbed their certainty of conquest. From the alien perspective, it was a simple strategy: crush Earth quickly before it could organize any larger threat. But they had underestimated one thing: humanity's creativity and determination. The first wave, the battle, began before the cannon fired. Alien ships surged forward, seeking to destroy orbital platforms and stealth vessels. Beams of energy streaked across space. Explosions lit up the void, but humans had prepared for this. Stealth ships darted from shadows, hacking alien systems, creating confusion in their fleet. Missiles fired from orbit targeted alien engines, causing massive disruptions. Drones swarmed the attackers like swarms of metallic bees, overwhelming their sensors. From the surface, railguns and defense platforms unleashed coordinated fire. Asteroids were diverted into alien formations, creating obstacles no ship could avoid. Human ingenuity turned the environment itself into a weapon. For hours, space above Earth became a chaos of light, metal, and fire. Every second, humanity gained ground. Every second, the aliens realized Earth was not the weak planet they had assumed. The ultimate strike. As the alien fleet faltered, deep beneath Antarctica, Project Aurora was ready. Energy from the planet's magnetic field surged through the cannon's immense structure, concentrating into a beam brighter than 1,000 suns. Engineers activated the final targeting systems. AI algorithms calculated every possible adjustment, every planetary alignment, every factor that could affect accuracy. Then, in perfect coordination with the orbital forces, the beam was released. It shot upward, cutting through Earth's atmosphere with blinding intensity. Space itself seemed to bend under the power of the strike. The beam tracked the alien flagship, the largest vessel in the fleet, a mountain of metal and energy that had dominated every battle so far. When the beam struck, it was as if the stars themselves ignited. The flagship shook violently, its hull tearing under the unimaginable force. Energy rippled across its surface, causing explosions that spread to nearby ships. The aliens had underestimated humanity, and the result was catastrophic. Within moments, the flagship was destroyed. Its pieces scattered across space like fragments of a fallen world. Alien ships nearby faltered, retreating in confusion and fear. The first wave of invaders was broken, and the battlefield shifted in humanity's favor. A planet speaks immediately after the strike, Earth sent a broadcast, not through satellites alone, but through every frequency available, every signal human technology could reach. The message was clear, simple, and direct. You brought war to our world. We will never kneel. Now you will see the strength of humankind. The words echoed through space, reaching the surviving alien fleet. They could see in that moment that humanity's resistance was not merely about weapons, it was about spirit. They were witnessing a species united, a species that fought not because they were forced to, but because they chose to. Even among the aliens, fear began to spread. Their confidence had been shattered. For the first time, they faced an enemy they could not easily defeat. The alien retreat. The remaining ships, disorganized and terrified, began to retreat. The commanders issued orders trying to regroup, but the morale of their fleet was broken. The humans had sent a message more powerful than any weapon, a message that said Earth would fight, Earth would endure, and Earth would strike back with unmatched ingenuity. The aliens, realizing their arrogance had been their greatest weakness, pulled back to the outer edges of the solar system. They would not leave immediately, but for now Earth had survived. And it had won a decisive psychological victory. Humanity united on the surface, the celebrations were quiet but profound. Soldiers hugged engineers, children waved at the sky, and parents cried tears of relief. It was not a victory of conquest, but a victory of survival and unity. Every person had contributed, whether by designing a ship, working in a factory, or simply believing that humanity could stand together. Across the globe, the leaders spoke again. They emphasized one truth: the war was not over. But now humanity had proven something vital. No alien could underestimate them again. No invader could assume Earth would bow or surrender. Humanity had sent its ultimate message not through words alone, but through action. And the galaxy had watched, preparing for the future. Even as Earth celebrated, work did not stop. Engineers continued to repair ships, scientists refined weapons, and strategists studied alien movements. Humanity knew that the aliens would return, likely stronger and more determined than ever. But humanity had learned a crucial lesson. Preparation, unity, and courage could change the tide of war. A single planet, united in purpose, could strike with precision and strength beyond what even the most powerful empire could anticipate. And more importantly, humanity understood something deeper. True power came not just from technology, but from the determination of billions acting as one. The aliens had chosen war. Humanity had chosen to endure. And the ultimate message had been delivered. Across Earth, a new determination settled into the hearts of every person. They would continue to fight, they would continue to innovate, and they would continue to show the galaxy the strength of humankind.